Good morning, everyone. Hope you're having a fantastic day. I am Jonathan Little. I just ran back from Mr. James's school. I dropped him off for a Wednesday preschool class. It's always nice and fun to take care of business. Amy had to go do something before work, so she didn't get to take him. She normally likes to take him. I typically let her do whatever she wants, so if she wants to take the kid to school, she can take him to school. If she doesn't, well, then I do. My headphones are broken here. That's not good. Should probably fix that. I need to fix my resources. Louis Philippe says, your poker vacation is coming to an end. Well, hope you enjoyed it. You took down the 7,500 guaranteed bounty tournament recently. All the poker coaching premium content helped you a ton. Well, glad to hear that. Thanks a lot for that, and congrats on the score. Hope you enjoyed the poker vacation. Today, I want to talk about resource accumulation, but perhaps more importantly, resource multiplication. We're going to get into that a little bit. Now, I want to be clear that I don't know a whole lot about how to get super duper rich, but I know how to get a hold of a little bit of money, and also know how to get a hold of a little bit of happiness. So, we're going to be discussing that today. So, first things first, to some extent, you can view life in various ways, right? And a simplistic, but probably not such terrible way to view life is as a game where you try to accumulate resources. Now, what are the resources that you care about? You need to ask yourself, what resources do you care about? Some people care about family and great family relationships. Some people care about money. Some people care about fame. Some people care about charity, right? People care about all sorts of different things, and therefore, you need to figure out what actually matters to you. Which resources are you trying to accumulate? Now, I know most of you are poker players, so we're going to try to link this to the poker as much as we can. And I think the obvious thing that a lot of poker players want to accumulate is money, right? That's really the most tangible of these resources, and it is one that there are proven methods in place that will allow you to accumulate that specific resource. So let's talk about that. First things first, you need to make yourself the best version of yourself that you can be, right? Because if you are, let's say, always drunk and hungover, well, you're probably not going to be all that with it when it comes to actually making good decisions. So you want to make sure that you are present, right? It's very important to be aware of what's going on and aware of what you are actually trying to accomplish, right? Next, you can kind of think about this like a video game. And if you play video games, you will find that very often in most of them, when you first start out, the resources you accumulate are very, very tiny, small amounts of resources. When you're a young person, when you start off getting a job, it's probably going to be a minimum wage job. I started with a minimum wage job, and then I upgraded to a slightly more than minimum wage job whenever I was young, and that's what a lot of people do if they do have to or need to or want to start working when they are 16 years old, right? And so you usually start off small, but you ramp up over time. And the important skill here is learning how to ramp up effectively and efficiently better than other people do, right? Because it's not necessarily a competition, but especially once you start to get towards the top, it really is sort of a zero-sum game, right? Like if you want to be the best poker player in the world, and, well, there can only be one of those, right? So if I want to be the best poker player in the world too, then one of us is going to fail. You may say, oh, number two's not so bad. Yeah, but what if we have 1,000 people vying for this and only the top 20 actually get paid a lot of money? Then you sure better be good at what you're doing, right? So you really are competing against other people, even if you do not necessarily view it that way. And to be fair, I don't really view life as me against them. For whatever reason, I don't know why, that's just not been baked into my brain. And I do think life is a collaborative thing just because there are so many resources to go around, right? But you do need to make sure that you are essentially competing against yourself to be the best version of you. I have a chapter in my upcoming book, Excelling at Tough No Limit Hold'em Games, on Improving Yourself by 1% Each Day by Alex Carr, who is the owner and head manager at Pokar, poker backing site. And he talks about many things you can do to upgrade your life just a little bit. If you upgrade your life just a little bit, all the time, well, you'll crush it eventually. It turns out people who listen to his methods and follow his methods actually do end up crushing it after even a short period of time, like 6 months or a year. So you have a few resources that you can invest in for yourself. So the first is your time. You can spend your time doing various things, okay? So what can you spend your time doing? Well, you can spend your time doing nonsense, like watching nonsense on TV, reading nonsense on the internet, or you can spend your time doing things like studying. Anything, right? And you take your time and you spend it improving your skills. Then you use your skills to make money, right? So think about poker. It's a very clean example of this. You start playing poker, you're bad at it. You play some, you're not good. You go back to your job, you work, you accumulate more money, you play poker, you lose, you get a little bit better. Eventually you realize getting experience at the table is way more expensive than getting experience away from the table and learning how to get good at poker, right? So what people eventually realize to do if they are really, really smart and really trying to succeed is they take their time, they work at their job, making whatever salary they make, and then they take that money and they spend it on education in the form of books, private coaching, training videos, pokercoaching.com, etc. And then they go back and they spend their time playing more poker, and then they start accumulating money from poker. So they take their job where they're making minimum wage. This is what I did. It's the exact path I took, right? I was working a $10 an hour job at the airport. I bought like $150 or $300 worth of books, studied, spent my time then playing poker, and then ramped up over time. And as your skills increase at poker, what inevitably happens is you start making more and more money from poker, right? The initial spend of resources allows you to accumulate more wealth from poker, which in turn allows you to take that money and reinvest it back into poker education. And inevitably, you get better and better and better. You know, some of this goes into your bankroll too, right? The majority of it goes into your bankroll. But some of it needs to go back into education so you continuously improve. Because at the end of the day, a lot of people don't necessarily aspire to beat tiny stakes. They want to actually make reasonable money, right? I know everyone starts just wanting to make money on the side when they're going to school or something like that. But whenever you realize, oh my God, I can make $100 a week, you're like, oh my God, I can make $1,000 a week. Oh my God, I can make $10,000 a week. And then you're off to the races, right? I'm calling myself smart here. I'm calling myself lucky. I somehow stumbled into the right path, or at least a reasonably strong path, and it worked out. By the way, I'm a little bit sick, so I may have to cough here every once in a while. I've been sick for the last few days, but that's okay. I don't mind being sick. It's good for you. Okay. So, what other skills can you learn, right? What other skills can you acquire? Well, one skill that a lot of poker players lack, and a lot of people who are somewhat antisocial in general lack, I'm not saying all poker players are antisocial, but in general, is they lack communication skills. I lacked communication skills. I'm using myself as all of these examples because that's the example most close to me that I know to definitively be true. And I lacked communication skills. So, learn to communicate well with others. You can also learn other specific skills that are very, very relevant, right? Like, for me, learning how to market on the internet is very important because I have a poker training site. Speaking of which, we have a Cyber Monday sale. Actually, it's a Cyber Week sale. Check it out. We are going to have one promotion right now. We're going to have another one later this week. PokerCoaching.com/CyberWeek. I'll type it right here for all of you. Let's see. Poker Coaching. PokerCoaching.com/CyberWeek. Check it out. You can get a year-long membership at Poker Coaching Premium at an extreme discount. And also, we're going to have a few other things coming up over the course of the week, so make sure you check that out. All right, what other things can you learn that are specific skills that can be helpful for you? Well, some obvious ones. Learning another language, right? Knowing how to communicate better with others is a highly valuable skill. Many employers, if you go get a job, if you can speak another language, especially if you're in any sort of communication industry, they will pay you additional money. Say you're a computer design, some sort of engineer who works on computers, like some computer science person. I don't know, winging it here. If you learn how to, let's say, design images, if you can do design as well as development, maybe you get paid more, right? So you can learn other skills that may help you do a better job at your job. And instead of spending your nights wasting your time, your free time, instead spend your time learning additional skills. And some skills are worth way less than others, but even then, like learning any skill is better than learning no skill. For example, whenever James was born, my first son, I was staying up all night with him, so we had these 3 balls, so I learned, hey, why not learn to juggle these 3 balls? So I learned to juggle. And I can juggle pretty well now. And it's a completely useless skill. I'm not going to go into the circus. And it's not even a skill you can use at a party or anything, because people typically don't juggle at parties. So it's just a completely useless skill. That said, it's a skill. It's neat. Maybe it helps with hand-eye coordination. Maybe it helps with juggling life. I don't know. Probably neither of those. But it's neat, right? Learning a ukulele. We bought a ukulele for James for his 2nd birthday. So, hey, you put a ukulele in front of me and I'm sitting in front of it long enough, I'm going to pick up the ukulele and learn how to play the ukulele. And again, probably a somewhat useless skill, but it's neat, right? And you have to ask, would I have rather been spending those few hours learning these somewhat easy skills to learn? Not that I'm like a master at either of them, don't get me wrong, I'm not juggling 7 balls or anything. Would I have rather spent that time wasting it or doing something? So then the next step to that is finding areas in your life where you are squandering your time and then getting rid of them, right? So what do you do in your life where you are wasting time? And you may find that some things you do really are very, very, very low return. My example for me personally was Magic the Gathering. I love playing Magic the Gathering, but it's very, very low return. While it's nice to play other games, and that might even help you with poker, inevitably what ends up happening is it's just like a time suck, right? And your time, as we will see later, is actually your most valuable resource once you get good at accumulating resources. And then, essentially, you just don't want to be finding things that suck away a lot of time. So, sure, I can follow the game on the side by listening to podcasts as I fall asleep or something like that. But I'm certainly not going to be going to play Magic tournaments on weekends because I don't have time for that, right? I have a family. I have my business where I help all of you, and I just don't have time to be doing that. People want to see me juggle. All right, this might go poorly. I have a chocolate poker chip, I have some keys, and I have my wallet. It's the only 3 items I have in front of me that I can potentially juggle. Let's see if we can do it. All right. Oh no, computer turned off. All right, let's keep going. All right, fair enough, right? Not so bad for 3 very different items. I don't even know if you all can see that. I think I needed to scoot back farther. All right, let's try scooting back farther. This will become a juggling show. Okay, you ready? Here we go. We'll keep them low so you can see them. All right. Okay, there you go. All right. Believe it or not, we're not just fibbing here. We actually know what we're doing. Okay. I got lost on my notes. I actually have a lot of notes today. So, ways to invest in yourself. Essentially, you want to upgrade yourself as much as you can possibly upgrade yourself, right? So, now, some people will take this and say, oh, well, one more thing here is collaboration is highly valuable. I have a book back here, Excelling at No Limit Hold'em, where I collaborated with a lot of people. If you observe the poker community, a lot of them like to fight. They try to make fun of others, belittle others, tear others down. And while that may help them get views in the short term and get a few followers in the short term, these are often not very good followers because these are people who are also very negative and also try to tear people down. Do you really want people around you who want to tear people across the board down? And the answer is no. So, you do not want... The idea of I'm going to make myself popular by tearing others down is asinine in the long run. And look, we're playing a long run game here. At least I'm playing a long run game here. Life is, to some extent, a long run game. And it's important to collaborate with others and generally be likable, right? If people don't like you, doors are going to close left and right. Many of the YouTube personalities who like to hate on people are seeing all of their doors close. And many of them are leaving poker because their doors are closing, right? And they like, why is this happening to me? Why are my doors closing? Well, because you're an awful human. That's essentially the answer, because you're tearing down others, right? And it's very important to make sure you communicate with others well and build up others and collaborate. Because at the end of the day, quite often, like 1 + 1 does equal 3. And if you look at a lot of my work, right? Excelling at No Limit Hold'em, pure collaboration. There's like 18 authors there. I have Modern Poker Theory. I helped Michael Acevedo get that together. We have, well, Poker Brat and Life's a Gamble. We helped get those 2 biographies made, right? Positive Poker, Peak Poker Reforms, Mastering Mixed Games. All these books I didn't actually write, but I helped with significantly. And we collaborated, right? Because I happen to be decently good at writing books, and other people have a whole lot of ideas that I don't have, right? If you look at my site, Poker Coaching and Poker Coaching Premium, it's not just Jonathan Little's site, although you all may not know this if you're new to me. It started as just Jonathan Little's site. It was me, and then we hired 2 other people pretty quickly, and then we sat at 2 other people for a while because really we weren't growing all that much, we weren't expanding all that much. But I decided, you know what? I'm going to make the training site Jonathan Little wants, and I made the site that Jonathan Little wants, which implies spending a whole lot more money getting content from many of the absolute best poker players in the world. I mean, just recently, we hired Michael Acevedo, who wrote Modern Poker Theory, and he is the GTO expert in the poker world. And then also, we hired Jonathan Jaffe, who is the exploitative poker master in the poker world, because these are like 2 of the best poker players in the world, and they approach the game somewhat differently. And like, it's exciting to see that, right? And these are also people who are kind of like-minded to me, and that they realize the value in working together. All these people coach a lot of people. They've been coached by a lot of people, and they realize the value of education. They realize the value of helping others, and they don't mind giving back to the poker community, just like I don't mind giving back to the poker community. So it's all a very, very good fit, right? And when good people get together and work on good projects that help the community, well, good things happen, and that is exactly what's happening in poker coaching. So, you need to collaborate. Now, some people may look at this and say, if you should collaborate, should you just get backing money and get backed by people? Well, I think the answer to that is essentially no. Maybe, but probably not. And the reason is because most backers are looking to make money, right? So if the backers are looking to make money, and they're, somewhat wise backers, intelligent backers, they're just not giving away their money, they presume that they have an edge. So if they have an edge, it means that you are selling action but giving away money at the same time in exchange for what? In exchange for less risk. Now, if you're very new to poker and you have almost no money to your name, then maybe it does make sense to mitigate risk completely. That said, if you have no money, let's say you have a $100 stream and you lose $100, go work a $10 an hour job like I did and get $100 again. It's not hard to do. So, I mean, look, I don't want to make it sound like it's easy to get any job. That's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm saying is, if you have a job and you lose $100, it's just not a big deal. And when you have almost no money, there is really no downside in losing the little bit of money that you have. As you get more money, there becomes more and more downside in losing the giant bankroll that you have. Like right now, for example, if someone proposed to me a game, I mean, they asked Doyle Brunson this, if he could roll a 6-sided die for all of his money on let's say a 1, he loses all of his money. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, he doubles his money. Would he do it? And he said he would do it, I think. I don't think I would do it, as nitty as that sounds, because right now going broke would be awful. Because I've accumulated a lot of wealth already, right? I'm not trying to give it away. That said, we're still taking shots all the time with relatively small amounts of the bankroll, because that is just good bankroll management. When you think you have an edge, you want to play a little bit bigger. What I'm saying though, do you need backing? The times you need backing, a few specific times. Main time is when the buy-ins go exponential, but the skill levels do not increase all that much. And this very often is the case when you go from, let's say, $10,000 buy-in tournaments, let's say $5,000 buy-in tournaments, to $25,000 buy-in tournaments. They get tougher, but in specific venues, sometimes they actually get softer. Great example of this is the Hard Rock in Florida. Kind of sad I'm missing their tournament series right now. They have $25,000 tournaments there, where essentially they are like a kind of semi-tough 5K, without a lot of the marginal pros who have maybe 5 or 10% ROI. So a lot of these pros who are like, okay, they're not in these events, but there are more recreational players who just have a lot of money and like to gamble on a 1 or a 2-day tournament, right? So those often become times where it does make sense to make sure you get in that game. They also have a 50K there, but that one usually is not quite as soft for whatever reason. Don't know why. Well, it's more money. It's twice as much money. That's probably why. But you need to know how to look for good spots. And sometimes it does make sense to go after it in the good spots. I mean, one time I played a 100,000 pound buy-in tournament, which was like $230,000, 230,000 American dollars one time. I ended up bubbling. I had aces and I bubbled. That was a lot of fun. But that was a game where I sold a bunch of action and made it a point to get into play because it was a heck of a value. It was sort of like an invite-only tournament to some extent. They added 100,000 pounds to the prize pool. There were like 30 people. And it made a whole lot of sense to get in there. The World Series, they had a $100,000 tournament every year. I make a point to get backing money lined up because I don't have the $10 million bankroll required yet. And I don't always play it. I don't think I played it last year. Yeah, I don't think I played it last year. And that's because I showed up, I looked at it, didn't look great. So I skipped it. I think I skipped it. I don't even remember. It all bleeds together. I think I played it 2 times. It has not gone well. But realize that it's not like I'm just blasting my money in there thinking, oh, I need to play as big as I can possibly play. Because, you could justify taking a shot, but it really wasn't all that soft, right? So if there's no edge, you don't need to be taking a gamble at it. So what this amounts to is that if you are playing poker and you view a game that is bigger than yours as tough, you really don't want to be getting into that game to start with because there's no value in it. You may say, should we be trying to test ourselves and improve our skills? I mean, you can do that in your regular games, right? Pay attention to the good players because the good players are playing the 5Ks just like they play the 25Ks. And the players who beat $1,000 games are also playing the $300 games. Just how it works. Sorry, everyone. I'm a little bit sick. Yesterday I did a webinar. Ooh, it was rough. Well, I don't think the users knew it was, or the viewers knew it was rough, but it was rough. All right. Okay. So I really don't think you need to get backing. I think getting backing is a pretty big mistake, unless, like I said, you really want to mitigate risk. Times you want to mitigate risk are perhaps as you get older and you have a family and you don't want to have big swings, right? Maybe your skill level is viewed to be incredibly high, so you can sell at a high markup without being unethical about it. Maybe that's the time to sell action. But there really aren't a whole lot of times where you need to be selling action, especially if you're selling action at break even. If you're selling action at or near break even, strongly consider skipping the game. I mean, good example of this, $25,000 tournament in the Bahamas just a few weeks ago. I showed up, I was ready to play, sold the action I needed to sell at a low markup, I think like 1.03 or something, not a big markup at all. And I showed up, and if the game was soft, I was in there. If the game was not soft, I'm not in there. because I'm not trying to give away my money. I don't have an ego problem where I have to play every single game, right? So I showed up. Game looked tough. So I didn't play. Same thing happened with the first 10K they had there. 10K side event. It was very small, very tough. I didn't play. They had a 10K later, not the main event, another side event. It was incredibly soft, so I was in, right? And like I am smart enough to make the decision of if I expect to have an edge in this individual tournament. And you need to be able to do that too, right? You see another poker boom coming? No. How does anyone justify playing the World Series when the rake is 40% after taxes? Not sure what you mean by 40% after taxes. Rake at the World Series events are about 15-ish%, I think, which is kind of high for the smaller stakes games. Taxes, you pay on your profits at the end of the year. So if you lose, you don't pay taxes. And you're going to find that usually if you do win each year, it's going to be a tiny amount unless you win a tournament. And if you do win a tournament, yeah, you got to pay some taxes. But you don't win tournaments all that often. So there you go. You're a Poker Coaching Premium member, and you're playing qualifiers for the 2020 World Series of Poker. I would just tell you to study the challenges. We have lots and lots of homework challenges there. Those will help you get up to speed on thinking about ranges. You may also want to check out, it's going to sound a little bit off, but the Cash Game Masterclass, because that's going to also just teach you how to play fundamentally sound. And then you can adjust accordingly for whatever weird structure your qualifiers have, right? I'm not sure what your qualifiers mean. So figure out the structure of those games and then adjust accordingly. But if they're like satellites, we have a little bit on satellites on the site. To be fair, I generally don't recommend satellites. I'm sure you can Google Jonathan Little satellites and it'll probably come up for a few reasons. I discussed it in my book, Mastering Small Stakes and No Limit Hold'em. Basically, you're parlaying into a tournament that's presumably relatively tougher than you were used to, and you're gambling pretty hard. That said, it's a goal a lot of people have. It's a bucket list item, so feel free to get in there. All right. How do I know if a game is soft? Is it by who you see playing? Yes. I know who are good. I know which players are good, and I know which players are bad because I play a lot of poker. All right, let's see. Yeah, I don't think there's going to be another poker boom anytime soon. I think the game has been growing in the U.S. I don't know. I don't have data for that. And it's important to realize that my thoughts on this matter aren't actually all that relevant because I don't have data, right? You should ask someone who runs a casino or a poker room. You should ask someone who runs an online site. They will know way better than me if the games are growing or shrinking. I'm sure you can look at some data, like number of players active on the various poker sites that operate within America to see if they're growing or shrinking. And that's a way better thing to do than asking a random poker player. It's important to realize, just because someone exists does not mean that their opinion is relevant. And my opinion really doesn't matter on almost everything in the world, except for, well, poker is one of them where it's somewhat heavily relevant, and most other things I'm not so good at. Like if you ask me about skiing, let's say, you really shouldn't be asking me about skiing because I don't know much about skiing. What percentage of the time can a winning player expect their bankroll to be at an all-time high? Not very often. Because your well, it depends if you're a cash game or tournament player, right? Cash game player, quite often. Tournament player, not very often at all, right? Because if you're playing cash games, your results just trickle up if you're good. And if you are a tournament player, you're going to have down, 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 spike, down, 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 spike, etc. Am I worried about the AI that's happening? No, not really, especially in live poker. I mean, online poker is in a really rough spot at the moment. When I was in the Bahamas, I made a series where I played a bunch of 50-cent dollar to $2, $5 cash games on party poker. And, I mean, the games were, like, generally tough. And there really weren't a whole lot of games going. And it was the same across all the other sites. And that's tough for cash games. I think tournaments are going to probably continue to thrive just because it's hard for the solvers to solve tournaments because the scenarios... the scenarios change a lot, right? Like when there are payout implications, the game's very different than when there's no payout implications. I think Party Poker is doing a whole lot of great things in terms of the ideas they're using to essentially change the game a little bit to the point that the current solutions that people have are just very wrong. And so I'm looking forward to what they are doing. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'm excited to see how that goes. You value my opinion. Well, don't value my opinion on things I don't know. That is why you should value my opinion, actually, because I know what I do not know to some extent, and I know what I do know to some extent. That said, do I think poker is growing in America? I think it's probably somewhat stagnant, but it has definitely grown over the last few years. So it's at a pretty good spot, like live poker in America. It's possible to make $2,000 a month at small stakes games. Do the math yourself. Do the math yourself. Let's get out the calculator. I'll do it for you. All right, how much do we make per 100 hands? Let's say we're crushing the games. We make 10 big blinds per 100 hands. Actually, let's say 5. We're going to be more realistic. 5 big blinds per 100 hands. What are small stakes? 10 cent, 25 cents? So that's $1.25. $1.25 per 100 hands, okay? Times, how many hands do you play per hour? Let's say you're playing, 4 tables of fast games or 16 tabling big games. That means you'll play, what? Let's call it 600 hands? So this number times 6. You make this amount per hour doing that. 6 tabling, 10 cent, 25 cents. If you're good. Okay? You want to make $2,000 divided by 7.5. That means you have to play 267 hours per month to make $2,000 a month. Is that right? It doesn't sound right. Maybe it is. I guess 750 is not a whole lot per hour. So yeah, no, essentially no. You're not going to make it playing 10 cent, 25 cent. If you double the stakes and playing 20 cent, 25 cent, 50 cent, now you're going to be making, you'll make that in about 130 hours, which will change things a bit. It's really just a math problem. Go see jonathanlittlepoker.com/bankroll. That'll be very helpful. Also, realize that you get to move up over time, right? As you are playing, your bankroll will increase, and then you move up. A lot of people say, oh, I need to make $2,000 a month. That means they plan on cashing that out. No. The easiest way to make it to where you never move up and have a difficult time succeeding long term is to cash out a lot of money in the beginning. Remember how we discussed about resource multiplication in the beginning of this show today? You want to multiply your resource, and your bankroll is one of your most valuable resources as a poker player, right? So don't just demolish it by cashing out because you want some short-term gain. I remember whenever I was young, I was 18 years old working at McDonald's, and we were playing poker. I worked with a guy who played Magic the Gathering with me, and we went and we played poker together after Magic the Gathering tournaments for like $1 buy-in. Every single time my friend would win, he would buy a new CD. You all may not even know what CDs are because you were too young. A CD is a piece of plastic you put into a device to play music. And so, that's what this person did every time he won. He'd take his 20, 25, 30 bucks and buy a new CD. And he loved it. And so, he would do that every single time. And after about a year of this, he had a whole lot of CDs. I did not spend my money on CDs. I spent my money on nothing. I just kept it in my bankroll. I actually spent my money on poker books. And I accumulated a whole lot more knowledge. He accumulated a whole lot of more plastic discs. And you don't really want to accumulate plastic discs. You want to accumulate knowledge and money. Some of you are saying the stream is dropping a little bit. That's no good. Let's pause. Well, we'll just wait a second for everyone. Sorry if you're listening to this later. By the way, you can listen to these on my podcast, the Poker Coaching Podcast with Jonathan Little. Make sure you check that out. Kobe says he makes $3,900 a month playing 50-cent dollar. Good. Do the math. Figure out your win rate, right? I always try to give realistic numbers. A lot of people, they think, oh, I'm just going to crush the games because I'm the best player in the world. Like, if you're playing tiny stakes, you're probably not. Okay, McDonald's story was essentially, I had a friend who worked with me at McDonald's. We made no money at McDonald's, minimum wage. And we would go play Magic the Gathering together. After the Magic the Gathering tournaments, we would play poker. Every time my friend won, he would buy a new CD. A CD is a device that you use to play music. Actually, a CD is a piece of plastic that you put into a device that plays music. And so that's what he would do with his winnings every single time. I, on the other hand, took my money and didn't spend it on anything. And after a year of this, I had some money and he had some plastic discs. And I'm sure he got plenty of enjoyment out of his plastic discs, but as far as I knew, a few years later, he was not making a whole lot of money, right? He was instead listening to his plastic discs. I, on the other hand, was playing poker, making $20,000 a month. And you have to ask, what is your long-term goal? Do you want to listen to plastic discs, or do you want to make a lot of money so that you can then use that resource to significantly better your life, right? Fred says, find a game you can beat and play it a ton. Thanks to me and my team, you've cashed in your local tournament on the last 4 times for over $1,000. Nice job, good work. Are CDs not plastic? Maybe they're metal. I don't know. YouTube went offline. Well, that's no good. So anyway, you want to make sure that you use your resources intelligently, right? And if you're not using your resources intelligently, what ends up happening is you don't end up where you want to be. You want to know where you want to be, and you want to make sure that you are working in that direction. And while resting and relaxation is relevant and useful, you're going to find that pretty much everyone who succeeds in life long term, unless they were just blessed by a genetic lottery where they had rich parents, they worked their face off. They worked all the time, they worked hard, and they accumulated whatever resources they wanted because they did the work required to get it. Peter says you're on a 25 buy and downswing right now. You know it's irrelevant in the long run. Well, make sure it's a downswing and not you being not good at poker. But yes, I'm glad to hear that you are persisting and crushing it. You love the new shirt. I think this is my same. I have a few poker coaching shirts. Moral of the story: work at McDonald's, play Magic the Gathering and poker, and avoid plastic discs. Well, just avoid spending your money on things that don't matter. And especially, vitally important, when you are getting started at anything, you want to make sure you are leveling yourself up to the best of your ability. That's really it. You want to make sure you become the best version of yourself. You need to invest in you. Because at the end of the day, you're always going to be there, well, as long as you're with us. And you want to make sure that you can continue using the skills that you've accumulated to then accumulate the resource that you want. So, once you do accumulate a lot of a specific resource, we've been talking about money this whole time. Once you do accumulate a lot of money, you're going to find that I actually think working to accumulate money is a pretty reasonable goal, as long as you don't make money just purely for the sake of making money, because you're never going to make enough money. Because, well, there's infinite money to be made, and you cannot make infinite. So, once you make an adequate amount of money for you, and you need to know roughly where that is, you can then start doing other things, right? For example, with my poker coaching business, I knew that I wanted to start hiring additional coaches. So, we were making a little bit of money from the site. We started hiring additional coaches. We make a little bit more money from the site. I'm not just taking that money and spending it. I'm hiring more coaches. I'm reinvesting in the business, just like I have reinvested in myself over the years. And accumulating the resource of money allows you to find where you can improve and then use your resource of money to get whatever other resource you need. For example, if poker coaching needs more coaches, or if I want to make a premium version that's very, very high end, it's going to cost some money. So we accumulate the money, and then we use the money to hire additional coaches. And they're going to use the money to do whatever they want, right? They may pay the bills, they may buy CDs, they may go to movies, they may go on a vacation. I don't care what they do, right? Whatever they want to do. Go have fun, be happy. And while having money will not cure all your problems or making you happy, or make you happy, it will certainly it'll give you more options, right? resources lead to options, and having options opens a door for you to do whatever you want within reason. For example, if I was a jerk to people on the internet and in person, I would not have Excelling at No Limit Hold'em. I would not have half of these books back here, right? And I would not have, lots of other things left. I wouldn't have my training site. And the fact that I am not a jerk to people is a resource. It's not a tangible resource like money, even then money's kind of intangible. It's not a tangible resource like money, but it is like a trait and a skill that can be developed and can be learned. Because you all may not believe this, 15 years ago, I was like a completely pessimistic, negative person, just like a lot of other loser poker players. I did not talk to people. I did not want to interact with people. I don't know how the switch flipped. I wish I knew. I would bottle it and sell it. Actually, I'd give it away for free, because that's what we really want for the world, is just people to be happy, healthy, and useful, and wise, right? And anyway, I somehow changed, and once I changed, all sorts of doors started opening for me. And it's been great. Make sure you're good to people is what it amounts to. But realize that if I did not have all of these things, I would have, again, fewer monetary resources, because every time you write a book, you get paid some money. And that would have not have allowed me to continue scaling up, right? So you need to use your resources to scale long term. And eventually you're going to get so much money, so many resources in terms of money, to the point that you can use that money to invest in other people and other things. You become the backer, right? So I'm an investor in many startup companies because I think the founders can take my money and multiply it. I have money in the stock market. Why? Because I think that will slowly but somewhat securely multiply it. And I have money in all sorts of stuff purposefully because I know that I can only utilize so much of it. There's a problem in the poker space that the market is only so big when it comes to the coaching site. For example, I could liquidate all my money and just load, spend $1 million a month for content. It's probably not a wise decision though, right? And you have to be smart about your asset allocation. And if you allocate your assets well, and your assets are not just money, your assets are time, your assets are attention, your assets are like your health, your well-being, right? Your education, all these assets. If you allocate them intelligently, you'll scale up over time. You'll multiply your resources, and you'll continue to progress. And you may ask at the end of the day, what's the purpose of all this? That's a tough question. Because, you don't actually have to have a whole lot of money to live in the vast majority of places in America and the vast majority of places in the world. So if you don't really have any desire to, like what is the purpose of getting a hold of money? So I know my wife wants to send her kids to good colleges. That's going to cost money. I know my wife wants to be able to retire at some point. That's going to cost money. Again, these are not really even my aspirations. They're her aspirations. But I'm happy to accommodate, right? But you really don't need a whole lot of money. You need $50,000 a year, and that's plenty of money to live in the vast majority of places if you are reasonable. The thing is, though, most people out there are, they want more, right? And that is a thirst I would recommend you do your best to quench to some extent. Because, one, you'll never have enough. There's a whole lot of value in just being content. Now, the problem a lot of people run into is that when they become content, they stop working. And like my wife's always saying, when are you going to take a vacation? Referring to me. And, take it easy for a week. And I'm like, the only time I get to take it easy for a week is when I get sick as a dog and can't do anything. Because I don't want to take it easy. I enjoy working. This is what I like. And it's not to try to get more. It's because I enjoy the process. I enjoy the process of bettering myself, and I enjoy the process of bettering all of you. And that is my goal, is to help all of you become the absolute best versions of yourself that you can. And that is a goal that's like never going to be fully achieved because I'm always, running into new people who I have not helped at all, and I realize people have setbacks, et cetera, et cetera. So I would tell you to not get so wrapped up in outcomes, but instead really be aware of the process and enjoy the process. Like I'm in the process of writing a book right now. It's been a little bit of a slog. It's a big book. If you think Excelling at No Limit Hold'em's big, it's going to probably be bigger than that. And I actually enjoy it, right? It's a grind, but I enjoy the grind. And if you enjoy the grind, then life is great. If you hate the grind, if you really just want to see the project finished and done with, you're not going to be happy the majority of the time. And I want all of you to be happy. A great way to be happy is to enjoy what you are doing. I don't think I have much else to say about this. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. I feel like I'm rambling. Whenever I start rambling, you all just stop me and say, Jonathan, you're rambling, pack it up. Let's end for today. And my throat is hurting. So, as Kevin says here, everyone hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. It costs you nothing. That will help out the stream and help out me and help me better the lives of more people. Also, I am having a few sales this week for Cyber Week. It's the end of the year. We need to get some money so we can pay our taxes. I'm pretty sure that's the reason Cyber Week actually came about, by the way, is I think a lot of businesses back in the day probably thought, oh my God, we have no money on hand. How are we going to pay our taxes? We'd better put everything on sale. So let's sell it for very, very, very cheap, which is what we're doing. So go check it out, pokercoaching.com/cyberweek. Also, if you're not on my email list, sign up at pokercoaching.com/email. We have a few promotions we'll be sending out this week to give you access to Poker Coaching and Poker Coaching Premium at a big discount. And I'm excited to be able to offer that to you. When is my next poker tournament? I'm going to Nottingham in early January for the Party Poker UK tournament. The tournament in the Bahamas was so great, I'm running it back in Nottingham in early January. There are a lot of training sites coming out now. They seem to be following your model. Well, that's what happens. Whenever you do great, people will knock you off eventually. Fortunately, they don't have Jonathan Little. How many buy-ins should you have to play low-stakes games? Read jonathanlittle.com/bankroll. But depends on your edge, right? Are you winning? Et cetera, et cetera. Short stacks means you need to have more buy-ins. But what is a buy-in? Is a buy-in just the typical 100 big blinds, right? It's really how many big blinds do you need for a game, not how many buy-ins do you need for a game. You broke a mirror almost 7 years ago. Your run batch should be over soon. Good luck. Good luck with that. Why are $1,000 tournaments more fun than $400 to $500 tournaments? I think you're going to find that as you move up in stakes, games become more fun in general. And the reason is because people are no longer playing with rent money. They start to become more playing with disposable income. And when people are playing with disposable income or gambling money, whatever you want to call it, then they don't really care when they lose as much. This is why you find a lot of the very high stakes tournaments, very high stakes cash games, are incredibly, incredibly loose, like jovial. Casual, right? And that's because people are there having fun. If they lose, they don't care. So you will find that as you move up higher and higher, especially if you get into the mix and create the fun or, induce the fun by not being someone who wears headphones and sunglasses and a hoodie. If you're actually in there talking to the people, they're happy to have a good time with you. Great example of this is in the Bahamas this last week. Every single day, I did not wear headphones at all. And obviously I didn't wear sunglasses or a hoodie or anything. And every single day I found someone to talk to, and it was just an absolute treat. Didn't win any money, lost every hand I played. Not because I was talking. I was actually talking to someone, well-respected poker player, and he thinks that talking significantly diminishes your edge. I think it diminishes your edge a little bit, and I'm happy to give up a little bit of an edge in exchange for a whole lot of enjoyment. He thinks it diminishes it a lot. I'm interested to know what other respected pros think about this. I think you're going to find that the vast majority of them still just do the talking. In my mind, there's a bit of a list. Not talking and in a good mindset is probably ideal. Talking in a good mindset is second. Talking in a bad mindset is third. Not talking and in a bad mindset is fourth. If you're not talking and you're in a bad mindset, it's just like a bad experience, and I don't have a good time. But anyway, I think the situation that's easiest to maintain is talking and in a good mindset. How can you increase your chance to get backing from PokerCoaching.com? You all may not know this, but every month we back a few students into live poker tournaments, $500 or $1,000 buy-in games. How can you increase your chances? Go through all of the homework challenges. Go through the quizzes. Interact, right? Be there. Be involved. We see that. I know how much people are doing. And, we can't pick everyone. Realize that, we have, 100 realistically good candidates. And, we pick some. We pick the ones that we can. We're not rich yet to where I can buy everyone into a $1,000 tournament each month. But, anyway, that's that. How can you increase your chances? Get involved. Negreanu is talking all the time, and he is one of the best. Well, some people talk a lot, some people don't talk a lot. I'm not going to necessarily say one is better than the others. What are my thoughts on various other poker sites? I don't know. Check them out, see. Douchebag assholes with no guts wear sunglasses and hoodies. I don't know if that's necessarily true, but I definitely will say when I was young, wearing my sunglasses and hoodie, I was a douchebag asshole as a young, dumb kid. Made a lot of mistakes as a young person, and that was one of them. One of many. But inevitably, we learned, we have done our best to write our course, and that's all you can really do is continue to improve, right? People make mistakes. Mistakes are not the end of the world as long as you make right for your mistakes and then move forward productively and make a point to not make the same mistakes again and again and again and again. Let's see. I think that's going to be it for today. So yeah, check out PokerCoaching.com/CyberWeek. We have lots of content there for you. If you enjoy this, click like, click subscribe, share with your friends. If you have any friends who are awake and having breakfast or coffee at 9 a.m. Eastern time, tell them about the stream. They can prop up their phone directly on their table and hang out with us in the morning. It can be fun. And then I see all of you interacting in the chat, right? You all are starting to know each other, which is kind of neat. Also, if you're a Poker Coaching member, we have a Discord chat. Go there, interact, hang out. We have a Hangouts thread where people are meeting up before they go to play poker tournaments, and it's a lot of fun. Yves says, I was not a bad person when I wore sunglasses in 2009 Cyprus. Apparently I was nice in 2009. Maybe that is right when I was coming around, right? I had 4 or 5 or 6 years of negativity in my brain, and we inevitably came out of it at some point. It took a while to shed the sunglasses and the hoodie. Actually, hoodie came off pretty quick. The sunglasses came off eventually. Headphones are still in every once in a while and I don't feel like talking, but it's important to be personable, and anything you do that turns off people or makes you appear to be not personable probably is not good for your long-term profitability in life. So that's going to be it for today. Thank you all for being here. If you're a Poker Coaching member, we have lots and lots of webinars coming up. If you're a Poker Coaching Premium member, we have even more webinars. So make sure you check those out. I know Jonathan Jaffe had to reschedule his webinar from Monday due to making day 3 of the tournament in Florida, the $5,000 tournament. So that's coming up for the premium members on Monday. I love Jonathan Jaffe's webinars. I hired him because I wanted to get coached by him. Easy way to help all of you and help me at the same time. So that's a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to that. If you want to sign up for Poker Coaching Premium at a big discount, check out PokerCoaching.com/CyberWeek. Have a great day. Have fun. Enjoy yourselves. Thanks for being here. Good luck in your games. And be nice to somebody. I'll see you again on Friday.